Okay folks, welcome back. So I've been playing around with my new floating router and I am just amazed how good this thing is working. So I've done a few cuts. I've been working on, I've made a few templates up here. This is the first one I made, and this is to join 2x6 to do the tenons and mortises to match. So what I'm going to do in this video, I've already done a few of them as well, is do some, I did some straight cuts, but then I did this angled tenon too, which is just a crazy cut to try to do this on by hand. But with this machine, it literally takes seconds. So here's a few mortises that I plowed, and you can see that just goes right into them, and it's cutting nice and consistent too, is the nice thing. These are all just tenons that I cut, or mortises that I cut earlier, and this will all just go right into each one of them. So now what I'm going to do in this video is I've got my blank here made. I'm going to show you how I cut a mortise in the end of this stick, and then I'll cut the matching tenon on the end of this angled stick. So without talking anymore, what I'll do is I'll zoom the camera in so you guys get a good look at this, and we'll do these few cuts. Okay, so the first cut I'm going to do is I'm going to do the mortise in the side of this 4x4. So there's a bearing on this side. For you guys who haven't seen this, this bearing will follow whatever I put on this side, will produce it on the other side. So the bearing is directly across from the router. So there's my mortise template right here. So to do that mortise, all I'm going to have to do is just put the bearing inside of that, clamp it down, and then that's the pattern that will follow. But because I want to put this in the side of a 4x4, and I want to have my 4x4 run through, then I have to build this fence, or build this bunk up on the other side, and I want to go even to the top of my fence, so then I can just run a piece right through. So I'd want my mortise coming out in the center of this 4x4, so in order to do that, I'm going to have to build this side up to have this mortise come out to the center of a 4x4. So the way that I got my template set up, this block that's hooked to the bottom of this will bring this mortise up to the center of a 2x6 laying on its side. So, but in this case I want to do a 4x4, so I have to go a little bit higher. So after just doing a little bit of measuring, I was able to determine that I needed a block this thick in order to bring me to the center of 4x4 laying on its side. So all I've got to do now, because I've got that made, is just to bring that over to the edge, or bring my bearing inside of it now, and then I'm just going to have to clamp that down. So once I get my templates made, there's really no figuring anything out. It's just a matter of, sliding it into this machine, clamp it down tight, and then the same thing. I'm just going to have to put a couple screws in. These are going to go right back in the same holes because it's been on before. So there. And then all I'm going to have to do is just set my 4x4 even with the edge of this. Just keep it lined up with the edge, and then just clamp it down. Now, when I go to do more of these, when I go to do this for real and want these in a specific spot, then obviously I'm going to have to put some marks on this fence that, would indicate where the mortise is going to come in. But for this, I'm just going to do just a couple of quick cuts so they don't have to be in any specific spot. So there. So now that's hooked down. So now all I got to do is, I guess I didn't have my router plugged in, but I can plug it in real quick, and we'll do this cut. My power's not on. Now we'll try it again. I had to turn a switch on. There we go. There we go. Just remember that big knot. That's the one we just did. So I'll just set that down there. Now I want to just quickly take this off. Now to do the angled tenon, all we're going to have to do is to line this up with the edge of this. or not, folks, if you guys have seen my old mortise and tenon machine that I had a few years ago, this is that exact same bit, and it's still as dull as it was then. So later on here, I'm going to get a new router bit for this, and then I'll do another video to show you the difference, because this router bit is super dull. Like, it's incredible how good a job it's doing, even even with this dull bit in it. So now, what I'm going to have to do too when I do an angled tenon like this is I'm actually going to have to come out and center my tenon. So then I just have to come back and put this about center. So obviously I'm going to have to do some measuring when I do my you know, something that I'm going to use. But for this, I'm just going to kind of line it up here so it's coming about halfway. If it's a straight tenon, then I'm just going to have to keep everything tight to my fences. But because it's angled like this, it changes things a bit. So just clamp this down, and now I'm ready to do the angled tenon. I guess I went a little bit too quick. I see I got a blowout there. But like I said, this bit is just burning its way through more than anything. But, you know, once I get a little bit of... I just got to get to where I can buy a good 3/4 inch cutter, and I just haven't had a chance to get it. So there, we'll grab that. So there's that mortise that I cut right there. So you can see that. The perfect fit.